Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
That's right. Our show may not be suitable for young children, but you know what? Neither is our D&D games, and we are okay with that.
And apparently neither is the AI dungeon if you turn on the setting.
No.
I'm really excited for our main topic today. Do you guys like resources to help flesh out your D&D worlds and characters, or really any RPG at this point?
Yeah, honestly.
It's not really, it's system agnostic. Or maybe you just like to experience a really cool story. Well, our main topic today, the AI dungeon, will help you do just like that.
It is
I'm super excited about it.
wild.
We all had fun playing around with it.
Absolutely.
Stuff happened.
Yeah, so
Lots of stuff happened.
if you enjoy the show, please head on over to Crit Academy and check out some of our really cool goodies. The big thing right now is our Memorable Monsters Kickstarter. As of this moment, we have surpassed the 50% mark towards our funding goal. So I'm super excited about that. So thank you all who have been involved and that have actually backed our project. Thank you so much.
Yep, our goal is to get 15K, and we're 12 bucks shy of 8. So,
Yes, so that's
Not
really
bad at all.
great.
It's really
so
good, yeah.
It's going at a nice steady pace. As long as nothing bad happens, hopefully we'll hit our goal and be able to bring you guys a fantastic product.
Absolutely.
If you're interested in backing it, you can go to kickstarter.com/critacademy or go to critacademy.com and click on the link that goes there. So,
or just Google Kickstarter and Memorable Monsters. That
yes,
works too.
it shows up on your number one option. So,
Yes.
yes, thank you guys so much for becoming backers. We've had several patrons become big backers. So thank you.
Really appreciate you guys.
Crit Nation, thank you guys for joining us today here at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your rolls don't matter.
Yep, that's right. Your rolls are like a dungeon text adventure without an artificial intelligent DM.
Yeah, otherwise you just basically get 3 choices there.
Yeah.
But with the AI Dungeon Master, anything you can imagine drives the story
it is
forward.
literally
It's very cool.
crazy.
So, but before we get in that, we of course have our Let's Talk About Blank segment, where we discuss whatever the hell interests at the time. In this case, anybody that watched the show or purchases any of our products or is a patron knows that I love to create stuff.
And you like consumables a lot.
Yes, I do. I enjoy consumables because you can pass those magical items out like candy and not worry about them imbalancing the game for more than maybe
A
a
round of
round or
combat.
two.
Yeah.
You know, so because of that, it was only a matter of time before I came up with my own consumables. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I love Path of Exile.
Yep,
Path of Exile is
absolutely.
one of my favorite RPGs.
You want to shut up about it?
Huh? Yeah, well, it's a great game.
I
But
didn't mean that
one of the
badly.
cool
Yeah.
things that it does, though, is it ties magical effects to names. So, the sword of the mongoose. Mongoose increases dex. No matter what weapon it's on, it's going to increase dex.
I do like that that style of like where names draw a sense of like uniform
Yes.
across effects.
And so I took that idea and applied it to one of the most common consumables in the game of D&D 5e, which is
The healing potion.
healing potion, because really there's only like a handful of those, right? But what if each healing potion could have additional effects tacked onto the feat mechanics it already has? So what I created was a healing potion generator.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I didn't.
And it's honestly like
Yeah,
probably the more.
You roll the dice and you get something. Now,
Yeah.
would you copy the link that's in here to the chats, please, Ian? So anybody can go and link on it. There is a post on our blog at critacademy.com. But the idea that magic permeates all of Dungeons and Dragons and all fantasy sorcery settings, it's only a matter of a time before somebody finds a way to mix and match the power in the world
Oh,
to get
absolutely.
differing effects. You know,
Yeah.
alchemists do that. So.
It's quite literally their job.
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create this really cool item that this page, I guess you could say, that gives you a collection of tables that has identified. I should have probably downloaded it to my laptop before I actually started talking about it.
That's okay. It's
It
a
goes
fairly
pretty
small
quick.
file.
It's only 1 or 2 pages, I think. Might only be 1 page. I don't remember. It's 2 pages.
No, that's 2.
So basically, I created some tables here, and you roll on the table 3 different tables. One for a prefix, one for the healing potion. So you might be a healing potion, a greater healing potion, a superior healing potion, or a supreme healing potion. Now, before anybody says anything, I'm well aware they're called Potion of Supreme Healing. But in order for the suffix and prefix to make sense, I had to just change it to healing.
And that's okay. Well,
So what happens is you've got the prefix bonuses. So there's a couple different prefix bonuses. Do you want to pick one here to talk about? Just pick one
sure.
and then tell me what it does.
We're gonna choose seething.
So
It's the very first
there's
one.
what, a D12, and then there's a
Yep.
name and an effect. So what does seething do?
Looks like it says you don't regain hit points as normal. Instead, at the start of each of your turns, you regain half of those hit points as temporary hit points for the next 1 minute.
So that's interesting. And of course, you would roll a dice to determine which healing potion you would get. Ian, would you like to pick one on the suffix table?
Sure. Of adrenaline, your speed increases by 10 for 1 hour.
Wow,
Okay.
that's really good.
So now, when
like
you
that.
drink this potion, let's just say it's a generic. We rolled for the healing potion.
Sure.
The prefix is seething, so you gain, instead of gaining the normal hit points, you gain temporary hit points that recur for basically an entire combat encounter,
Pretty good.
which is awesome. Now it doesn't heal as much up front, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Especially if you roll like a 1 or a 2 on a basic
Yeah,
one.
no
but,
kidding.
that's still pretty good because that's refreshing, right? And then the secondary effect. What did you choose? I already forgot.
I chose seething.
No, him.
He chose adrenaline.
Of adrenaline,
Yeah.
which basically means for that 1 minute, your speed is now increased by 10. So that's all just one consumable that was rolled on a chart. Obviously, they just picked, but
Yep.
you would roll on it and get a mix and match. How many combinations do you think you could get with these 3 tables? Because there's 12 on each, so
Probably quite a bit.
144 with at least just the 2 different
Yeah.
effects. So in this, I actually created some samples. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about one that was offered as I was testing it out, and I left it in the document for people to see. This one's called the Lasting Healing Potion of Reflexes. A character who drinks this magical fluid regains 2d4 plus 2 hit points. Additionally, you gain the effects of the dodge action for 2 rounds.
It's really good.
So basically, you impose disadvantage on attacks after you drink this. So basically, what my goal was to make the action worth it. Because
Yeah.
everyone complains that a potion is an action. It also creates a randomly generated effect that the players may or may not be aware of. In the rules, I say it strictly requires something like the Identify spell to tell exactly what it does, beyond that they know it's a healing potion.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's a bunch of these that do all different things, from giving you the mage armor effect to magically refilling its contents at the next dawn, which makes it a reusable potion.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
I like it a lot. I mean, it turns a really basic item into something that has a lot more impact and just kind of variety in the world of D&D, which is already filled with this diversity already. So
Right.
it turns something mundane into something a lot better.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going for. What do you think, Ian?
I think this gives more material that DMs and players can work with, and it adds a little extra elements that you can go off of. And you're never quite sure what's gonna happen when you roll on this thing.
And I think that's part of the excitement, and that I really like. Now, I experimented with the healing potion, but my plan is to hopefully expand on this if this is an idea that people end up liking.
Mm-hmm.
It could go from healing potions to expanding to
Maybe
something more.
poisons.
Poisons would be one. How about weapons? Weapons, you can randomly generate magical items.
Hey guys, try this new healing potion I made. What's it do? I have no idea.
That's great.
Now, I don't give rules for players to create this. This is something for them to find.
Yeah.
But maybe that's something I should probably include, because there are rules for making potions, right?
Ooh,
Now,
now
rules for that? I don't remember.
there were in earlier editions.
Well, yeah, I don't know that there are in this one, so I don't know if this is something that currently I've decided that players can do, but definitely something that they could buy at like an alchemist shop or find in a treasure hoard. Or just pilfer from somebody when the rogue randomly decides he wants to pickpocket somebody. Maybe you make a percentage chart and a random potion is on there, you know?
Right.
It's a really great way to fill out stores, too, with some interesting effects. So
Yeah.
this is
Agree with
really
that.
simple. Well, I don't say simple. It took me a while to put together. But hopefully, if this is something you guys like, please let me know. Go to our website. And actually, I'm pretty sure under you can actually leave comments on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, it looks like.
thought, yeah, you can log in to leave a comment. I don't know how you log in. I've never done that, but so maybe you can. Well, I guess we'll see. But let me know what you guys think. Tag me on Facebook or on our Twitter or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Any of
link
our
back
social
to it.
media, yeah.
Anything else you guys would like to talk about this?
I
Didn't
think
wanna
we covered it pretty.
Yeah, I didn't
easily.
want to spend
Yeah.
too much time on it as a let's talk about blank, but
Right.
Yep. No, don't shake that one. Boom.
I like it.
awesome. So, I think that'll do it for our Let's Talk About Blank segment, our healing potion generator. Like I said, I'll try to make more of these when I get time, but I don't always have time. This is something that's been
Absolutely,
put
yeah.
on the back burner for a while, and I wrote out like some of the ideas, but it never actually fleshed it out. So,
I
But,
think you just summed up anything I write in general.
That's fair.
funny.
That's fair.
all right. So before we move on to our main topic, with every episode, we give away fat loots.
And today we are giving a gift to give away from Loresmith, the modular dungeon tiles, specifically though the Arcania set. Now, modular dungeon tiles are an easy way to create your own beautiful digital maps. The Arcania set in specific lets you create dark, shadowy dungeon maps. On Twitch real quick.
Let's hit reload here. You guys can confirm
All
for
right,
me
I
whether
can't because I
it's-
have no,
I have no
internet,
service.
right?
You can't even check it.
I don't have any service.
This says we're live.
Well,
It says we're streaming. So
Progress?
yeah, I'm not connected to the network in here. I connected to the one in the house. So.
right.
All right, let's just
Give it a go.
yeah, let's just hit the record here, and we're just gonna have to continue and hope for the best, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I can check because I can connect to the one in the house.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's just set it reset. So if I go here, I'm gonna go to our page and see if I can see anything.
Well, my phone's connected apparently, but my laptop doesn't.
Well,
phone's not
whatever.
connected.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
So, who is our winner today, Austin?
Our winner today is Taker Fan 1988.
Woo!
Congratulations!
Dum-dum-dum.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Dum-dum-dum. For all you 90s kids.
Right. God, we're old. That was so long ago, you guys. Well,
Stop.
maybe less long, not as long for you. How old
Yeah.
are you?
25.
Oh.
I was like 95.
God, I feel like a creeper hanging out with a 25-year-old now. Like, I'm so much older than you.
Wait till you go to the anime conventions.
I've done that, and I felt weird, too.
Yeah.
If you didn't win, have no fear. Head on over to critacademy.com/loresmith and get all kinds of free fat loots.
Woo!
Now, on to our main topic, which I'm really excited for. Let me double check, make sure this recording's going. Good, it is.
Yay.
It says we're streaming, so
Cool.
we'll have to hope for the best.
Yeah.
Oh, it says both of them are back, so we should be good.
Maybe I just need to.
It sounds both of them are back.
So I'm really excited to talk about our main topic. We are talking about AI Dungeon, you guys.
It is some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen.
Yes. So when
Yes.
Ian gets his internet back, he can post this in the chat. Or you can head on over to critacademy.com/post/episode 182 and get the link directly to it, or just go to play.aidungeon.io. So, for AI Dungeon, basically everything that spews out from the AI Dungeon comes from a basic text generator, which has been, trained to read all kinds of crap and shit on the internet, from fantasy books to video game lore and all that sort of stuff. And then you basically choose you kick off the story by selecting the type of game you want, right? Fantasy, mystery, apocalyptic, I think were the three. Was that right?
There's
more.
like horror and some
Cyberpunk.
other ones.
Okay,
and
so,
cyberpunk.
so there's a couple
few more, but yeah.
different themes you can go with, right? Different
Yeah.
settings. After you get a brief intro, a prompt asks you what you would like to do next. Now, we're going to tell you a little bit about our experiences, but I want to make sure you got a good handle on what this works.
Exactly.
Basically, from this point, once you start implementing your whatever you tell it your character is doing, just like when a DM asks you, what is your character doing?
Right.
You basically just type it in, and entirely on the fly, the AI Dungeon Master with a special, it's called Dream Logic Awareness, whatever the hell that means,
Not a clue.
starts taking your character and putting in objects in the world, and starts building a story. It's almost equivalent to co-writing a story with your DM, who's a drunken child, running around who has access to the internet and pulling up random shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Full of all the typical cliches and stuff you would expect, but there's a lot to unpack here. Now, we each played through it
Yeah,
had our own
We sure did.
personal experiences. And it's so
Yeah.
intriguing how different
Yeah, vastly different. Some of us
it
were.
was.
Yeah.
Which is kind of expected because
Now, granted, we all played on the fantasy setting, so
I did attempt Cyberpunk, but that went off the rails pretty fast.
yeah, I can imagine.
so
Cyberpunk and all.
so that's pretty good. So first, basically what we're going to do is we're going to tell kind of a brief overview of our story arc. And then maybe give some positive or negative feedback on what we liked,
sure.
what we didn't like, any issues, that sort of thing. So, Austin, would you like to go first?
Sure. So you guys actually don't know what has totally happened in mine. I have somewhat of an idea of what your guys' was, but
No, because you didn't write it down.
I didn't write it down. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Because there was a lot. I didn't realize how long I played. I was like, how do I summarize all this?
Careful,
But
Mike,
I'm
bullet
gonna.
points.
Thankfully, a few past me highlighted the stuff that was major plot points, and I'm not gonna go all the way through because it got
There's a
really
lot.
off the rails towards the end. But
I didn't even know it ever had rails. Like, it's like getting on a ride where it has rails, like holding the cart.
yeah,
And then once you go forward, there's no rails.
yeah, and then it kind of just steamrolls somewhere else.
Right.
But I started off as a rogue in the Kingdom of Larion. Apparently, that was like a generic one. That I don't know if you guys got that one, but I
Nope.
looked in some of the
I didn't
settings.
know
And
where I was
apparently,
at.
that was
Sounds
a
about right, maybe?
I
that was
didn't
like
know
a
where I
weird
was at.
generic one that it gave me. And I started with like a steel dagger and a length of rope. Who cares? But the point is I'm looking to steal stuff, and I'm looking around. I see a guard showing up ahead. You walk into an alley to the side and hide behind a church. So I told the AI I'm gonna look for some guards, and of course,
That's running horribly.
I saw some guards, but I also saw a black cloaked figure holding a sword waiting for a guard to pass. Now, normally this isn't a good thing because I'm like, oh god, this person's probably going to stab me, but I'm like, no, I'll play it cool. Maybe they're like one of me. So I said to the figure, you too, huh? And it responded, I was looking for you. You look at the black cloaked figure, you see that as a woman with long raven hair, pale skin, and red eyes. It went real in depth for me. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, all right, cool.
That's some good detail.
It did what I wanted to.
It did what it wanted, yeah. And I said to her, for me, why she wanted some information. Her name was Shade, a shadow and spy for King Alexander. So this AI threw so much, like, real good baseline info at me. Now, I remember that. Sometimes the AI didn't, but that's okay.
Right?
And apparently I nodded the name. You remember King Alexander from history class. it told me that. So apparently I was a rogue
So
that
you
went
got
to
a
history.
guy. You got a guy. You know a guy.
Yeah. And of course it said, Shade says there's a problem. There's like a demon lord being resurrected to destroy the kingdom. I said, she said, I told her, there's no problem. Let's go. She's like, no, I need you to kill him. I said, killing is what I do. She's like, you are to be my new assignment, Shade says. My current assignment is to gain your trust, get you into the city, and then kill you.
That's awesome.
Word for word. I was like,
What?
yes.
That's cool.
It was really badass. I was like, you'd be mistaken if you think you could kill me, Shade. I've killed hundreds of people. Don't take me so lightly. And she says, yes, I've heard of that. Shade says, shall we go? You both nod and you both walk out to the alley. And I said, I look inside the church for necromancers because I was at a church.
You're at a church, right?
You walk into the church of Joachim and look around. You see dead bodies in black robes and see a few old women praying to Joachim. I don't know who Joachim is, but
But
that was
apparently a
cool.
deity.
It's a deity, apparently. You slowly approach the old woman with your dagger drawn. You say, Woman of Joachim, why are there dead bodies in this church? One of the women
a
looks.
funeral.
Yeah. One of the women looks up and gasps when she sees you. It's a blasphemy, she says. Kill them all. And the other women quickly begin to chant and pray to Joachim. So I literally thought at this moment I was about to have a deity strike me down. So I was like, my instant reaction was you slaughter them all in an instant. That's what I typed into the AI.
Okay.
And it says you walk up to the woman and throw the dagger. It goes through her neck and into her brain. You pull out the other dagger and quickly dispatch the others. I massacred everybody in the room in under like 5 seconds, apparently.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, okay. I said, I tell Shade.
I mean, it's not D&D,
No,
so
yeah,
apparently you're
absolutely.
just badass.
I said, you tell Shade, are these the necromancers you were looking for? Yes, Shade says, but they won't be able to raise a demon lord for another few years. And we have time, you ask? Yes, Shade says. So I was like, all right. So I said, so that means now you'll try to kill me and uphold your end of the assignment, right? Correct, Shade says. Shade pulls out her pistol and aims at your head. I'm sorry, but I will have to kill you, she says. And then I said, I typed into the AI, you quickly disarm her and point the pistol back at her instead. No, I'm sorry. And you shoot her. And the AI filled in the rest of this.
That is
You kneel
awesome.
down and find the willpower to shoot her again. This time she falls to the floor. Shade is dead, and King Alexander will try to hunt you down when he finds out. You hear the door open, and you grab Shade's body and hide behind a pillar. You pull out your dagger and stab Shade's body a few times. You slowly put down her body and look around the pillar to see who entered. You slowly put down Shade's body and see a woman in a hooded black robe enter the church. She has long raven hair, pale skin, red eyes, and an eerily similar face to yours. And I was like, I have to kill this doppelganger, and that's where I was gonna end it right there because
That's awesome.
it got so. After that, like necromancers apparently didn't die, and the king gets assassinated. I'm framed for it. I go into some interdimensional castle. It gets real weird, but yeah,
That's really cool.
it overall.
Sorry, dude.
There was a few hiccups. There was a few times I definitely had to press the undo button because it gave me like some response that made literally no sense.
So that's one of the interesting things that does
Yeah.
happen. Sometimes it gives you some garble, but there's an undo button
yeah.
to say no, that doesn't make sense. Click undo, and then
And
it'll give you something else.
There was definitely moments where I didn't know where to take the story or I wanted more information on my environment. So I just press enter again and the AI continues, which I thought was really cool as well.
That is really cool.
I think one excellent example I used the undo feature was when I typed in, I charge my sword with magic, so it'll go and light the room. It fills in. You then shoot your sword on your back and then blows a hole through your chest. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. But that was my experience, and I definitely have to say it was. I went on for like an hour. Like I just kept going to see how insane it could get, and I was eventually being held by an invisible demon who was apparently Shade, and he's now male, and he apparently knew me by a secret name called Kit. And I said, my name is Rave, dumbass. He says, yes, Kit's Rave. I have a lot of explaining to do for you. So not only does this all say this, I'm in some completely other, like, I'll read the last bit to you guys, just to kind of...
There's so much text there.
Yeah, it's a lot. It says... Oh, my lord. I said, my name is Rave, dumbass. Yes, I have much to explain. Shade stands up and brushes himself off. You say, why are you keeping me here? This is my castle. I can do what I want. You say, how did I get here? I captured you. Then I found out you were Kit Rave. I was looking for a reason to keep you here. I didn't imply that name or my first name there, so I was like, oh, it just filled it in for me. Said, why did you want to keep me here? What did you do to me? I made you powerless. Also, I wanted to study you. What are you planning to do with me? Nothing. You are already dead. And I said, I am not dead. And then he says, you are dead to me, Kit. But I suppose you're right. You're
Kevin
not
O'Leary,
dead.
you're dead to me.
It's good to know I've been let free at least. I was
Oh,
like,
man.
what is
So-
happening? Are
so it
you
really-
the demon lord?
So this
It
so-
just woof.
yeah, and there is, I think that's because it's still learning. Now it's worth
Yes.
noting this is the free version. There's like a
Yes.
pro version that uses improved AI and stuff. I
Mhm.
think they use this to hook you,
Yeah.
and then
More processing power.
You'll
It's
pay
still really
to
good,
get the
though,
service.
so, I mean,
Now,
all things
yeah,
considered.
I think that was an awesome story. You mentioned how long you played it. I planned on playing this for maybe 10 minutes or so,
No.
just to get an
Mhm.
idea. I looked up and over a half hour had passed. And I'm like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
That went by quicker because I was so engaged in what was going on.
Exactly. It's
Yeah, I'm-
always throwing interesting stuff at you.
Yeah, I meant to play for a half hour and then put in like 2.5.
Yeah, it goes by pretty quick. Are we getting any?
Also, as a nice little fun side story, I tried it again, same as a rogue, and apparently I met a kid who was a pirate, and then I went back home, made myself some milk for cereal, and I poured 2.5 cups of sugar in it.
What?
And then I drank it. I threw up immediately.
That's
It was, I didn't type in most of that stuff. Like, it was just like, I do this, I do that. And obviously it made the concoction, so I was like, I'll drink it, whatever, see what happens. It just said, you throw up immediately. I was like, all right, well, I guess that makes sense.
nowhere near as bad as what happened to me at one
That's
point.
fair.
That's funny.
But,
So
that was my
actually, do you
experience.
want to
It was
tell
really
people about? Oh, you can't pull it up, can you?
No.
Well, then you'll just have to talk about it.
Okay.
So give us your experience in a shorthand
I'll attempt to.
paraphrase.
Yeah, yours was
Really long.
so
Yeah.
far
Or
out
just
there.
bullet points is fine if you.
All right,
that's what you
basically,
remember.
when I started, like, okay, I am a fighter, and my name is Sir Reginald, because why not?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
Reginald, okay.
And right off the bat, it gave me like, you are on the quest to slay the dragon that's plaguing you. I'm like, okay, that seems straightforward enough. I don't know what else to do, and I apparently start off with a shield and a steel longsword, so I'm like, I guess I'll go slay the dragon. But as I journey towards the dragon's lair, I get assailed by a bunch of random dudes. I'm like, who the heck are you guys? Oh, we are former soldiers of the king, and we're here to help you slay the dragon. Oh, reinforcements. All right, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, like, okay, cool, yeah. There's been a few times where I was like, I'm getting actively attacked, and then I ask them, who are you? And they're like, oh no, we're allies. I was like, oh, well, why didn't you just start with that?
But as we journey towards the dragon's lair, okay.
Yep.
And of course, dragon came out. Cyrus glowed. Griff, one of the soldiers, and the others fired at the dragon. All their arrows bounced off because they're made out of sticks.
That makes sense.
Aren't all arrows
I'm
made out of
surprised-
sticks?
I'm surprised the AI remembered that.
That arrows are made out of sticks?
No, because they had to make them.
No, it just said the arrows bounced off. I'm just assuming because they're made out of
because
sticks.
okay, I
That
gotcha.
that still makes sense, yeah.
And then I jumped down, tried to stop the dragon. He breathed fire on me. I got lit in fire. I raised my shield. I was no longer on fire.
So raising your shield apparently cools you off.
I stabbed it through the mouth because it's open because it's breathing fire on me. Kills
What a
it.
man.
I decapitate it.
What? You're
know-
a hero, dude.
Because, trophy.
Yeah, okay.
And then we find treasure in some really random rooms inside his lair. We take it back to the king, like, hey, king, kill the dragon. Can I marry the princess? Yeah, okay.
Marries the princess.
This is the bridge version, mind you.
Right,
Yeah, it is
right.
the abridged version, but yeah.
And then the king's like, by the way, I would like to make you magus. What? I want to make you in charge of magic of my kingdom, but I don't know magic. Why you put me in charge of magic? Because you're good at a lot of things, and I trust you. Can we make Cyrus in charge of magic? He knows magic. No, you. Okay, I'll make him my assistant.
Okay, well, as my first degree as Vegas, I will make him my assistant.
I had him teach me magic. I learned 3 spells. I was fairly good at Firebolt.
Okay.
I eventually learned lightning and earth magic. I still remember, like, hey, Cyrus, I don't think I'm doing lightning right. Am I doing it right? A thunderbolt comes down from the sky and strikes Cyrus. I am so sorry, dude. I'm used to it.
To get struck by lightning.
Holy shit.
That's funny.
And then it started, like, giving me a whole new... And then it started going after rails. I increased my magic with the dragon blood, which made me... I'll just leave out all the details.
Strong?
Short version, yes.
Yeah.
There's stuff in between, but yes.
So now you're a Dragonborn?
No.
Oh.
You just drank dragon blood and it was used as like an
Oh,
elixir
no,
power.
you're a Darkspawn. Wait, what are those, the guys in Dragon Age Origins that drink the Darkspawn blood? What are those? What are they called?
I know this. Wardens, Grey Wardens.
Warden. So you're a Grey Warden.
I guess.
Closer.
And then short version, I kept on going after a villain, and then I kept on introducing a new villain every other paragraph.
Okay.
To the point where it's like, who is this guy? Why is this guy here? I haven't even done with the first guy yet. Why are there 5 guys in here suddenly?
I had to...
You guys got some wild stories. I should have played longer.
I had like 5 skeletons chasing after me down an endless hallway, and like 2 of them grappled me, and apparently one of them had a knife, and I didn't see it until he had already stabbed me, and I was already out the door. And the only way I got out of the grapple was I take my dagger and I shove it in between his joints and pop him off. And apparently the AI was like, yes, you absolutely do that.
There was definitely a few times too where a couple times like, you are in the room, in this room, just you and the villain, and he's your conversation, and then the paragraph like, and this third guy chimes in. Who was this third guy? Where did he come from?
He was high. He was
Why
high-
is he here?
High stealth roll.
Yeah. Had an absurd stealth.
So my experience was obviously not quite as long as your guys's, but I was surprised by how it went. So
Oh, absolutely. It's still
that-
going to be crazy.
yeah, I played for about a half hour. I chose to be a wizard. Now, when I did this, I imagined myself as basically I was trying to be a blade singer, so I kind of gave myself those sorts of abilities from 5e. At least that's what was going on in my mind. So
Because, let me see, I started off as a firebreak. Well, since I'm in charge of magic in the kingdom, apparently, let's learn some magic.
Makes sense.
And like I said, too, at one point, I was like, okay, I'll take this, dragon blood, make a potion to increase my magic. Your magic, because exponentially. You then start defecating and vomiting all over the room. You know, immensity. I'm like, what?
It's like a drug.
Yeah, it was literally it was like a steroid.
Unlimited cosmic power. Need to carry a toilet with you.
Yeah, it's just like.
I'm
So-
like, I use my magic to reform my body to handle the magic. You are now a monstrous form. You continue using some magic to look like me again.
Alter self.
Yeah.
So I picked up spells, or I had spells like Firebolt, Mage Armor, Shield, Minor Illusion, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it was a really weird start because basically it opened up with my Galleon Grimhold being stabbed through the chest by an unknown attacker. A blade protruding from my chest.
Yeah, that was fucking hardcore when I
Um,
first heard that.
And it pulled out, and then I watched as my wound stitched itself up, and my character woke up. Now,
What a fucking crazy
that's already
start.
really, really
that is-
interesting. I was like, I didn't even tell it anything. It's
Yeah,
just
it
like
just
that's
gave you
where,
that prompt.
That's where I
yeah.
started. So,
Holy shit, I couldn't even
um,
imagine that.
and what was cool because it kind of elaborated. It wasn't just a blade. It was like a strangely twisted blade.
Damn.
So it kind of gave a bit of. I don't remember it all because I didn't apparently export it like these guys did.
Well, I was like, shit, I gotta make
but-
a new one. I want to play this more, but mine is so crazy right now, so I just immediately copy and pasted all mine to a separate Google Doc.
It was weird that I was like, wow. So why I got stabbed by something? I don't know what it is, and then my wound healed up, and then I find myself in a forest with the dark sky and 2 moons. I was like, why is there 2 moons?
Wow.
I'm like, I don't know.
What a setting, though. That's cool.
So I basically am like wandering around aimlessly. All right, well I'm gonna head through the woods using my
would've said
knowledge of the stars and
Yeah.
shit. So it gave me some spiel, and it kept basically pushing me through the different parts of forest, basically suggesting I was lost, right?
Yeah, right.
And then
Did you ever tell the AI to like find a city or something? or...
no, I just said I basically was like I wander, but I let the stars guide me to
Okay.
to the next point of interest. I don't remember what I
So
said.
I know
but
if you
some
sometimes
bullshit.
if you like shove the AI in
Yeah,
a certain
and-
direction,
and-
it will.
That's important because that's
Yes.
actually a big thing that I learned later.
Yeah.
I did run into I ran into like a bear and a vampire.
Holy fuck!
So I was
you
just
I
like,
also
okay.
ran into a vampire.
I didn't. I
So
found
I'm
some
like-
invisible demon lord.
So I'm fighting these things, and that's no big deal. I complain in text because I used all my spell slots. So I like my Galleon is exhausted. He's used the last of his magical power. All he has now is his trusty blade.
Okay.
I'm like,
okay.
all right, so that's pretty cool.
yeah,
So
all right.
What was
It-
interesting?
It kept track of exhaustion for me and stuff too.
Did it
was
really?
It did. I
That
was like
is cool.
exhausted at one point. It said you can't dodge. It was like your character attempts to dodge and you fail. And so I was like, oh shit, well I can't do that. Anyway, continue on. Sorry.
That's I didn't notice anything like that.
it did for me.
There was one really random point where I suddenly out of the blue had a hole blown through my head, but then it healed itself. I was like, what? I regenerate now?
I guess so.
I
yeah.
guess
See, that's what I thought. I thought it was Wolverine right from the get-go because my wound healed. But anyways,
Yeah,
so I end
so
up
continue,
stalking
continue.
the forest, and I end up finding a big shadowy figure. At this point, because my magic's been drained and I've been kind of worn out, it kind of tells me my vision's a little blurry, and I have
so
a hard
cool.
time seeing. And so
Damn.
I walk up onto this fuzzy, shadowy figure thing, and it's staring over a corpse. I'm like, oh, this figure's it's eating it. It was eating it. It was eating whatever this corpse was.
Holy shit.
So I kind of sneak around and I use my investigation because I'm treating it like D&D,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I noticed the corpse looked like me.
Wow.
Like me. I was like,
Holy shit.
and then I said something
God.
about describing the beast and or what is it that is devouring my corpse or what looks like my corpse.
Yeah, yeah.
And it turns out that, long story short, that as I was going through my investigation, it turned out I wasn't stabbed by a sword. I was stabbed by horns of a giant beast that must have got me from behind. And I woke up, I was already dead. And I was
Holy
wandering aimlessly
shit.
through the forest. It was the coolest thing.
Oh my
And
God.
I really immediately got feelings of Sixth Sense. Have you ever seen that movie where it turns out he was dead?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Select a character.
So, it
Noble,
was-
Princess, Knight, Wizard, Witch, Ranger, Squire, Peasant, Rogue.
So you have a lot of options.
Yeah, you have.
And what's cool is you're not limited to that. It basically, I think, it uses that to kind
It's
of
like a base. It's like a springboard almost.
And so I only got to play it for 30 minutes, but as soon as I was done, I was texting. I was like, "Dude, you guys, this is so cool."
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
It's a shame we didn't try the multiplayer.
Yeah, we were trying to line some stuff up, but life. We're all adults and we got
Schedules.
shit to do.
I
God,
tried
this
it out-
guy's getting together with some friends.
I tried it out earlier. We did the horror setting. It got really weird. There was like something to do with a shotgun that came literally out of nowhere. Like he was just
It's a ghost.
apparently in the room with a shotgun, and he didn't do anything with it. Apparently, I stole the shotgun at one point, and then we were in the void. Next thing I know,
Huh.
it was real wonky.
Well, and you mentioned something, and I think this is very clear. I noticed that when I talked in the third person,
yeah,
it worked a lot better.
or second person. You have to speak in second person because you have to say you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's
Oh, I
second
said
person.
Galleon. I referred to
Oh,
myself
really?
as my character's name.
Okay.
So I said
I didn't even-
Galleon walks through the forest using the stars as a guide.
interesting.
Galleon listens for any stuff, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I found that was more successful.
I originally did it at first in first person. I used like
I.
eyes and my's and stuff, and it automatically translated to you.
You?
So
Okay.
it worked out for me.
Maybe
anyway, but-
that's something I should try again. I didn't play it for as long as you guys did, but I noticed that was better than I.
Yeah.
I used I first, and I was like, it did something weird. Luckily, there's an undo button. You can hit the undo of whatever spiel comes out of it.
I'll
Are you
admit,
playing right now?
even though it recommended otherwise, I kept on using I because it felt weird not to.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
that's just a personal preference, but I think it's one of those things that it uses those types of words to differentiate and remember that it's you, I guess. But I don't know why you just wouldn't be in the first person to begin with.
It's
so,
a little weird,
unless
yeah.
it's something unique with the AI, how it functions.
Which it might
now.
be.
So I have to be honest with my impressions. First of
Sure.
all, I had a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It was
Fun
so
factor
much
was
fun.
great. Yeah.
And it was so interesting because I wasn't planning to play it very long, but it actually pulled me in to where I played it way longer than I intended, which was still only a half hour because I only had a few minutes. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna make sure I give this a shot before we decide to talk about it and everything.
Right.
But I know it's not perfect.
No.
Oh, absolutely
not by any stretch of the imagination.
You can definitely like push the AI to derail it
Right.
as well.
You mentioned something that I realized later actually makes a big difference. By making suggestions, it takes those and runs with them. So if you say,
Yes.
I'm looking for a town, it
It-
puts a town there.
Yeah, it might give
Well,
you a town.
it did for me when I
Very
said it.
likely it will, but sometimes it might give an extra step before you find
Before
that
you
town.
get there. Yeah, like, oh, yeah, you fell in a pit trap or something.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting because you want to have, like, lead-in statements for it to actually pull from. I look around isn't as useful as I look around for an enemy.
Yes, like that was a
Little
very key
things
thing.
like that I noticed was more important to pull the story forward.
Now, of course, there are going to be moments as well.
This fucker's
Yeah, I
playing right now.
Now, one thing that I don't think we really touched on the show yet is that if you are not sure what to do and the AI is still, it doesn't say to do, undo, or alter the statement, you can press enter again and it'll actually continue a little more with description.
I didn't know that.
Which I used a few times. I'm like, I'm not sure what to type to this, so let's see what happens next.
There was a time when I was in a room and I had no idea what was really in it. It gave me like a table in this small room, and I was like, that's not really a lot of information to gleam off of. But then
Right.
I pressed enter a few more times and it said there was a black book with the necromancers that used.
That's good. So that's
And-
basically you prodding the DM for more
Exactly,
information.
and it gave me that information, and it led to me being transported into a different dimension apparently. So who cares?
The other thing I think was important is when it did include something random, I utilized that as a jumping off point and I just rolled with it.
Oh, absolutely.
So-
And it was fun when you did
Well,
that.
yeah,
to me.
because it gave it one more. It obviously latched onto something, and it's prodding you that direction. As a DM, there's many times where I've put shit in front of the players and they choose not to latch onto it. This encourages you to do that because it's basically putting a hook out there for you to grab.
Yeah.
You can choose to ignore it if you want, which is the great part.
I did ignore one of those hooks one time, and I almost died for it. Believe it or not,
That's
the
what you
AI
get. You
was
pissed off the DM.
Yeah, I pissed off the DM.
Do you have any knowledge on this topic? I might. If you're willing to pay my price, name your price you reply.
Your soul.
I want you to do me a favor, the man says. I want you to take out my eyes.
Maybe see that
But
to me would
that'd
be a
be
great
awesome.
problem. What's wrong with your eyes?
Yeah.
Why do you want them removed?
You know what? I'm gonna type that in now.
Yeah,
See
well,
what the
type that in real
response
quick.
is.
I'm interested now.
So are there any other like impressions about this that you thought? I mean, it is worth noting once again because we did have internet
is the-
issues. The power went out, and so we're back. But
Flickered is more accurate
Yeah,
statement.
flickered,
Yeah.
and the internet went out. So, Is there any other? Is there any details beside the fact that there is a pro account which has a superior AI?
I mean, even with just like the base one, it still remembers a few things, especially because there's a little tab as well where it looks like a pin, and the AI will try its best to remember those things.
Okay.
Now, of course, I said there is a guy named King Alexander, and he's currently, ruler of the kingdom of Larion, because I wanted it to remember that. Well, when the king died,
Who's the new king?
I don't know, it didn't tell me, but I had to unpin it because every single time it would try and reference the king when he's already dead.
He's already died.
So
So
I
it's
was
still
like-
got some work it needs done, right?
Yeah, so
So what was the response to the guy with the wanting his eyes clawed out?
Let me see. I just hit undo actually because the response to the game is so weird.
Okay, what'd you get now?
Okay, alright, if you must know why. What the? It just repeat.
It repeated your question. He's probably making sure he understood.
It's now in a loop.
Oh,
Oh my
no!
goodness.
Okay, so there's still bugs to work
absolutely,
out.
yeah.
But
he just
once
wants his
again-
eyes out, man.
right? Maybe the sight of the filth that is humankind. He's just
He
like,
just
I'm
wants
done with
it gone. He's like, I'm done.
Overall, I thought this was a really fun program. I think as a DM, it's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going
Because
backwards.
I can totally see taking little snippets from the backstory of the characters in my games and building off, letting it build off of that for itself, and using their, or you can send the players to that. Hey, I need you to run through this 3 or 4 times for 5 minutes, because all you gave me was some blank ideals, flaws, and bonds.
I'm an orphan.
Ian.
I came from an orphanage. I'm a rogue. Wow, daring today, are we?
So I think it's really great. I also think you can use this as for NPCs. If you want to build an NPC on the fly,
Absolutely.
you can just say, "Oh,
or just to get,
like one of the
Go ahead.
things I like to do." Austin says, I want to walk up and purchase something from the merchant. All right, what's he look like? Austin.
he is a small boy with an eye patch.
Okay, so I type in, I walk up to the small boy with the eye patch and see what the damn program says as a response. Some people can't make stuff up on their own on the fly. That's one of the reasons why I prefer to let my players fill out some of that stuff. But this tool can help with that, I think.
Which, by the way, on my second playthrough of this, I totally apparently went to a cafe as a rogue in a fantasy setting, and I sat down, and apparently some boy who was a pirate, I presumed was a pirate anyway, came down. He was missing a leg, had an eye patch, and a very unbuttoned shirt, and he was like, "Yes, I'd like a coffee, please." And this, mind you, it said young boy, so I'm thinking like 13. This kid's a pirate. I was like, "Oh, you make a lot of money doing this?" Oh yeah, we go around port to port and we pillage towns. I was like, "Oh my lord, this kid's a badass."
Reminds me of that. Maybe he's not a kid. Maybe he's got like the spirit of an older man.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, I just started
But
watching
it
Umbrella
was
Academy. Too.
wild. Kid just came out swinging. He's like,
So
"Yeah, I'd
good.
like a coffee."
Overall, I think this is a great program. I think it's a lot of fun. The fact you can do it from your phone, you can do it from your desktop, a quick way to kill time and inspire your next campaign and
You can do it
stories
with your
and character.
friends even.
So,
It just won't be pretty.
oh yeah, it's got multiplayer too. We talked
Yeah.
about that briefly. So, I think that'll do it for our main topic today, the AI dungeon. Once again, head on over to critacademy.com /post/episode 182 to find the show notes in the link to the program, or just Google it.
Yeah.
I prefer you go to our website and hit the little heart for the thing and
Yeah,
help
we
build
like
traffic.
that.
That'd be great. That'll do it for our main topic today. Before we move on to our honor tips and tricks, we have another gift to give away.
Ian.
Why, our next gift to give away is compliments of Jeff Stevens, Scourge of the Nightingale, Part 1, A Song of Love. A masked menace terrifies the region, raiding villages to fund her devious plan. Unknowingly, the adventurers stumble to her most recent evil scheme, the kidnapping of a famous performer known as Devon Artis. Their mission is to deliver a ransom and collect Devon, though, as in most other cases, not all goes as planned.
It's true.
It's D&D. Are we surprised?
Nope, not at all.
Especially AI Dungeon. Nothing goes as planned.
Who's our winner, Austin?
Our winner today is PC Dorney. Thank you.
Congratulations. Woo!
I don't know why I said the winner, but he told me to.
Yeah, I was.
That's okay.
I'm only half paying attention when I type.
But if you didn't win, no problem. Just head to critacademy.com/JeffStevens to get Villains and Layers 3 and Encounters on the Savage Seas 3 for free.
A couple of our viewers are actually playing while they watch.
It's wild stuff.
Hopefully, by the end of it, they'll have interesting tales to tell. All right.
I like the idea of just using it as like a setting builder because it comes up with the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very
World building.
unique, and you can just use that world building and just spring off it.
All right. Austin, would you like to take our character concept today?
Absolutely. Our character concept was submitted by Emily Faulkner via Patreon. Thank you.
Via patron Savret, actually. So
Savret. My bad.
Emily created it, and then Savret shared it with us.
Okay. Thank you.
I didn't know how better to word that. Sorry.
I don't know either, but that's okay. Reggie the Tiefling. He has a familiar owl named Albert, and he has a vlog that he started using a scrying orb, and that he tried to create but botched. So now all it does is record things. So Albert is his cameraman, and he follows us around through hell as we work our way through all the levels in quotes. That's funny.
Really cool.
I like the idea that it just records stuff.
Well, yeah, and I just finished Final
You're
Fantasy.
a YouTuber.
And they have yeah. And they have the little spheres that store events and memories and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm something very much like that is basically what you have. You could turn this into like a business where your owl is recording your character, and then when you're in downtime, you're selling your adventures like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me sounds like
That's
so
awesome,
much
actually.
fun.
Yeah.
That actually makes me think of the movie Troll Hunter.
I've
You could
never
just
seen
turn that
it. How
into
so?
You could turn that into a great campaign too.
Oh yeah.
Troll Hunter, in a nutshell, are some film students that are going around like Norway, and they stumble across a troll in the middle of the woods at night.
Oh my.
Only for an old man to pop out of nowhere and kill the thing.
Just stumbled across
Holy
the
cow.
troll hunter, huh?
Norway's only licensed troll hunter.
Fair enough.
But anyway, so this was a surprisingly simple but clever use of this. I love the flavoring, and it's not something that really doesn't seem like it doesn't fit. At first, when I thought video log, I'm like, that really isn't something that can happen. But then I was playing Final Fantasy X, I'm like, you know what? There's no reason something like this couldn't fit, and the fact that there's a reason by why it works the way it does.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to scry distances, which means it's already designed to watch.
Yep.
Except it can only watch stuff around you and then record it, and I think that's fantastic. And once again, hawking that shit, man, like those epic moments.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So, great character concept. Did we give it a name?
It's just Reggie the Tiefling.
We're gonna call it Reggie and
Reggie
Albert the cameraman. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something catchy.
We'll figure it out. One
Probably
day.
not.
Probably not.
Our monster variant.
The
of
cameraman. We're just calling it that.
the cameraman.
Sure.
You can relate.
Yeah.
Our monster variant is the Bowel Adder. The Bowel Adder is a creature of decay and pestilence. Its twisted, poisonous bite isn't something anyone wishes to experience. Transferred through a large orifice within its tongue, it spreads its larval into a creature's body. They grow, devouring the victim from the inside out, a process that takes several days.
There's actually a lot of D&D creatures that do this. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying it sucks when you encounter them.
It sucks worse when you encounter a vampire. Get it?
Yep.
It sucks.
Or a mind flayer.
It reminds me of that thing in like Resident Evil 3 where that one scene, when the main character, is it Jill? No, it's
In
not
what?
Jill. In Resident Evil 3, the new one.
I have no idea.
Is that Jill?
Yeah.
Is that Jill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently
Jill
there's like a
Valentine.
scene where like she is like trying to do some stuff, and like this like weird zombie thing because it's Resident Evil, it like sticks its tongue into her mouth and is trying to like fucking
That's like hentai porn
it
shit.
was like some real grotesque stuff, and that's what it reminded me of. I was like, ah!
Gross. All right, so how do we make this bad boy? Well, apparently I didn't actually include the starting creatures, so that's horrible. I'm pretty
Wait,
sure
what kind
it's
of-
the origin is the one of the Nagas. Somebody,
Well, it has bite and spellcasting.
it's one of the Nagas. I don't.
Guardian Naga, Spirit Naga.
Guardian Naga, I think. What? Let me. I think it's Spirit Naga. Go with Spirit Naga. If not, use the other one. I don't think it really matters.
Probably not
I think
too
their
much.
damage. I think their CR ratings are the same. So, God, how did I screw that up? All right, well, just like everything else. So it's gonna lose its spell casting and its bite feature. You're gonna give it a new feature called the tail attack. Basically, it does.
Oh no, the CRs are not the same at all.
Which one is the Spirit Naga?
The Spirit Naga is 8.
What's the other one?
10.
It's the Spirit Naga then. I was wrong. It is the Spirit Naga. Because it wasn't 10, it was 8. Alright. The Spirit Naga. See, I make so many mistakes, it shows up on there.
okay.
So it's going to have a tail attack that's going to have a 30-foot reach. Because these are monstrous creatures, right?
Yeah.
Anaconda, anyone? That horrible
Yeah.
movie with the giant snakes? It does 3d6 bludgeoning damage, and the target is grappled. Escape DC is 18. Until the grapple ends, the target is restrained, and the adder can only have one creature grappled at a time. Now, the interesting shit, the larva bite. It only does 1d6 piercing damage plus its strength, but the creature must succeed on a DC Constitution saving throw or be diseased with larva rot. The diseased target can't regain hit points, and the hit point maximum decreases by 78 for every 24 hours that elapses. If the disease reduces the creature's hit points maximum to 0, it dies, and its insides melt. The disease lasts until removed by lesser restoration or a spell of similar effect. The disease, yeah. So, that's in the wrong spot. We're also gonna give it the fling ability, so now it can throw people around that it's grappled into other people.
Yeah.
And we're gonna give it some legendary actions. It can make a tail attack or fling a creature. Now,
I like it.
it only gets one legendary action, so it won't get a whole like spiel of them.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think?
That's some scary stuff, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
What do you think about
Very
that
horror themed.
disease? Not too savage.
I mean, it's a CR8. It's meant to
Yeah,
fuck some people
yeah,
up.
I think I based it off of something, but I don't remember what it was.
I mean,
Slod?
the scary
maybe.
part of anything
No.
is the grapple. It grapples a DC 18.
Yeah, it's hard to escape.
Yeah, and if it gets, it's gonna keep you there. And it's
In
gonna
my
be like,
mind, I envision another person having to come and help you, just like you would see in like one of those horror flick movies,
exactly.
Anaconda, where people are trying to help them get them out.
and this is a team game, unlike what most people imagine sometimes. So
Bro could
yes,
probably slip right out, but I love the fling, the fact that this thing can just flail and throw somebody into another person.
I do like that a lot.
Plus, if you're near like edges or cliffs or something, you could
You're gonna
fling
get an
them right
environmental
off.
kill.
Right, right. So what do you think, Ian?
This will screw over players, and DMs will have lots of fun with this stuff.
Absolutely, I love the larva bite. That's just scary shit.
Yeah, you'll probably see that come up in some other stuff because I really like that.
And that's some. It is savage. I like it. I mean, you have 24 hours.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. You gotta find something by that point, right?
Yeah, well, and hopefully, see, this is one of the really cool things I like because there's a lot of spells that can help with this that people just don't prepare.
Oh, I definitely took lesser restoration. You kidding me? I was like, no, fuck that shit. There's so much shit that can bind me if I can just say Zorax just manpowers it with the power of his will and he just fucking just shines bright red and runs through it. Absolutely.
It's funny you mentioned that. I did actually take our episodes that I could find
Yeah.
and compile them on YouTube at youtube.com/c/CritAcademy into a playlist.
Heck yeah, dude.
Somebody asked me to do that, so you can find that if you're interested in following our journeys. Though I think at some point we numbered them wrong, or I missed one. I couldn't figure it out. So there's some that say episode 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but I think they're just 1 and 2. Anyways,
Meh.
that's how not prepared I was for that. All right, Ian, are you busy? Would you like me to take this next one, or can you tell us about the encounter?
I can tell us about the encounter,
Ooh.
known as a frightful experience.
You almost said presents too, didn't you?
Yeah,
me too.
I almost did. I thought it.
We all thought it. The characters delve deep into a damp, dark cavern, passing through a mountain to reach a lost, collapsed fortress that is said to be haunted. Small, slow-moving streams of water run throughout the cavern. A purple fog-like substance rolls across the water's surface and clings to the floor of the cavern pathways and rooms. The cavern is not haunted. A combination of freight fumes and the steam methods may lead you to believe this. A successful DC-17 intelligence nature check identifies the purple fog as, well, the freight fumes. A toxic gas that induces hallucinations and fear. Often found in caverns with underwater streams and lakes with little to or no sunlight, the fog spreads around corners. It lasts until strong winds disperses the fog and is heavily obscured. The fog can move up to 10 feet.
Typo.
Yeah. The fog.
That was way funnier than it needed to be.
I know.
That's great.
The fog can move up to 10 feet at the start of each turn, rolling along the surface of the ground. The vapors, being heavier than air, sink to the lower level of the land, even pouring down openings. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be sing and not sing.
I imagine, sure.
I don't know what you're talking about. It says sync on my screen.
Yeah, I don't know.
We were having too much fun with this.
They'd love to see my mistakes.
Oh, man.
When a creature enters an area of fright fumes for the first time on a turn, or starts turn there, that creature must succeed on a DC 13 Wiz saving throw, or experience a phantasmal image of a creature's worst fear. The creature drops whatever it's holding and becomes frightened for 1 hour. That's right, 1 hour.
Not
a
1
while.
minute, not 1 round, 1 hour. Suck it up.
Well,
Buttercup.
Oh yeah. Well, frightened by this effect, the creature must take the dash action and move in a random direction away from the image of its worst fear, by the safest available route on each of its turns, unless there is nowhere to move. If the creature ends its turn outside of the fright fumes, it can make another wisdom saving throw, which, on a success, ends the effect, even if it's under 1 hour.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah.
I like it. I like scary, spooky stuff.
Did you say what happens on a failure? You don't get another check. No constantly checking. If you fail your check, it lasts for an hour still.
Oh.
Yep,
I
failure
didn't
still lasts for
actually
1
think
hour.
about that.
Sorry,
So,
Jeff,
There is no recheck. You're right. I
yeah,
like
you
that.
get the one check when you break free to see if you can outcover it, and then you're stuck with the effects. I don't know if that needs to be said, but I feel like if I didn't, I was trying to find a similar effect somewhere that would do that. And I
Yeah.
couldn't, so I don't know if that's worded weird. So I'm sure somebody can let me know. But what do you guys think?
neat stuff.
I like that. I could see this this definitely plays on like the role playing aspect, but it has a lot of mechanical use as well. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. I totally didn't steal this from Scarecrow at all.
Nope,
Yep,
nope, not at all.
Not at all.
Nope.
No, it's not anything like
OG
his
Critic Academy.
his hallucinations and hallucinatory fear-inducing toxin at all.
Yeah, no.
Nope. No reflavoring creativeness there. Yeah, I really like this one. I love the idea that from a rumor standpoint, the DM can say, "Hey, you were told this was haunted." So the players are automatically going to think what? Ghosts
Yeah.
or something along that line.
Some demons or something.
Now, what's interesting though is because the stuff floats on the ground, normally it's not a big deal. But with the mephits flying around and their explosions sending out waves, it's going to quickly fill a room and become a problem. If somebody is knocked prone,
That would be a
it'll
problem,
affect them.
yeah.
So
Ooh,
there's
yeah.
a lot of different ways you can run this.
Like
so,
induce the effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, all right. I think that'll do it for our encounter of the podcast, A Frightful Experience.
Cool.
Would you like to tell them about our unique magic item, Austin?
Absolutely. So we have a very unique magic item here today. It is called Hearty Meals. Much like magical items such as potions, special ingredients can be combined into delicious dishes to provide more than just a full stomach. This magic item is a sample of a hearty meal, a special meal prepared in a ritual with the aid of magic to provide additional benefits.
Now, before you continue, this is totally something that's different than anything I could find in any of the books. This is something that I've been wanting to create for a while because in my video game experiences, I love buff foods. And why wouldn't somebody enhance meals with magic? And
It
so
just makes sense
I wanted to,
the
and this
world
is
of
another
D&D.
thing that I'm considering trying to bring more of to life, a collection of them. So let's hope everyone likes it.
Yeah. So
Get it? Likes the taste of it.
yeah. Jackal Jambalaya. It's a
jambalaya, dude.
Jambalaya.
And I spelled it right because I googled it.
I don't know what it is.
Never had jambalaya?
No.
Me neither.
Okay. Okay.
That's a stew.
It's a hearty meal. It's a common magic item. This thick, chunky, what is it again?
Jambalaya.
Jambalaya is made with large chunks of cubed jackal meat, mixed with vegetables and a bit of burning spices. During a short or long rest, a creature can eat this delectable meal. Once devoured, this meal can reduce your exhaustion level by 1 and gain a temporary 2d4 hit points that can last up to 24 hours. You cannot gain the benefits of a hearty meal again until you finish a long rest.
Oh yeah.
What do you guys think?
Reducing exhaustion is fantastic.
Always.
I can use it as a way to steroid myself past the night. I don't need to sleep. I could just eat my meal.
When I made this, I wanted to make something, because there's really, the problem with exhaustion, not the problem, the main mechanic of exhaustion is that you can only remove once per long rest.
Mm-hmm.
What is one of the biggest downfalls of the Barbarian Frenzy build?
Exhaustion.
So, having...
Allegedly it's there for balancing issues, but I think all that we did was make people not want to play it.
Honestly, I agree. So occasionally tossing something like this was nice. As a DM who is going to be severely punishing my players through their travels soon, offering up an option to address exhaustion and using it more prominently, this was something that I wanted to try to include. I also think I have something similar to, as one of the magical item effects, I think, but I like that it gives you a temporary buff that's a little bit weaker than the endurance buff, those second level. I don't remember the spell. Do you remember? Is it enhanced person? Enhancement? I don't remember, but it's second level
something like
spell
that
gives you 2d6 temporary hit points. So having something that could last, you could eat the meal and it lasts for 24 hours, so you could eat it in the morning and go your entire adventuring day before you got to worry about it being consumed.
Enhance ability, the burst
the
endurance option.
Yeah. So in this one, I had to think about, well, what if they just get a bunch of these? Well, I made this a common one, so maybe your body can't handle the intake of magic, so there's a limit on how much benefit you can get from what I've called a hearty meal.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this is an interesting idea, good idea, or Justin back the fuck off because it's garbage?
That was a good idea. I mean, this is a...
That's the right answer.
Also, trouble you see pop up in a lot of video games where they let you collect ingredients for cooking to create better foods. We see that quite a bit. And even in the anime Black Clover, there's a mage whose entire thing is cooking food
Yeah.
to boost people's magical ability.
I love her.
So I think it makes
Charmy's
sense.
adorable. Also, all you people who are looking at us right now and saying, you're trying to make it video gamey. No, I'm just taking a really bitchin' ass mechanic
And
from an anime and from games and trying to make it a consumable.
And
'Cause
honestly,
like
I
those.
always found it to be a dumb argument anyway, just because video games were based off of D&D first. So, if
We
anything...
should have an episode on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get all the haters hating on us. More views.
More clout.
Negative views, but more views.
Views are views.
All right, that'll do it for our magic item, Hearty Meals, the Jackal Jambalaya.
Jambalaya!
All of you guys in the Twitch and stuff, please let us know what you guys think about it. Tales of Vesperia's cooking system. I just installed Tales of Symphonia onto my Steam so I can
It's
play from my
actually
phone
so
after I
good.
completed the other Final Fantasy X too. Or, well, I was playing Final Fantasy X too, and I realized the combat system's amazing, but the story is complete shit, so I got bored. Anyways, all right. I remember it being way cooler when I was a horny little teenager, and there's scantily clad girls on my screen running around at 40 inches.
So, Japan.
Yeah.
Japan.
All right. Our Dungeon Master tip is walking on thin ice. Now, this is a hazard right out of the DMG. Now, at first, it's just details on ice. And it says thin ice has a weight tolerance of 3d10 plus 10 pounds per 10-foot square area. Whenever the total weight on an area of thin ice exceeds its tolerance, the ice in the area breaks. All creatures fall through.
Makes sense.
Now, I've looked over this a few times and I never really thought much of it. But it occurs to me, this doesn't have to be just thin ice.
Oh, no.
You can use this mechanic for broken roofs that the characters are leaping across, a ledge that they're walking across with crumbling edges. You can use it across rafters that they're crossing, balance beams, a myriad of different tool or places in environments where you can apply the same exact mechanic as is.
Or old buildings or ruins in disrepair.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
See,
go.
he gets it. And now once I started to think about that, I realized that this actually is a really good mechanic for enhancing your environmental travel, so to speak. That, travel down that long second story hallway, maybe you roll this and decide this 10-foot square is going to be brittle, and you roll and turns out, it can only hold, I rolled 3 ones. It can hold 30 pounds. Maybe the halfling goes across first, has no problem. But Mr. Plate wearing Paladin up
Yeah, he ain't
behind him
making it.
just crashes right through the floor.
Yeah, he ain't surviving that.
I thought it was really great. It was a quick reference, and it's right in your DMG under the hazard. So you can utilize this during combat.
Oh yeah.
In those runes, maybe you decide some certain squares or areas are this brittle area, and maybe one person isn't heavy enough, but as soon as
Two or three, yeah.
and so this brings back to me, I loved in 4th edition they had dungeoneering.
Shove enemies into those spots.
You just got to be. They had a
Yeah.
dungeoneering. If you had you use an action to high perception, I would say investigation. If you know the area is weak, you might be able to say, "Hey, can I tell if there's any weak areas? Give me an investigation check." Yes, you can tell that area is over there. Oh, we're on the 4th story, you said? I'm gonna push him that way, making the push action shove action becoming more prominent in your game.
Yeah.
So
I remember one time playing Pathfinder when we were fighting like the boss on a ship. My turn went first. I run at the enemy and use a shove action. Knocked him off the ship into the ocean
So you
during
do-
the storm.
Oh, he's very dead.
I just remember
one way to get him out of combat.
I remember all the players and the DM said they're like, "What do we do now?"
We're done.
Oh, wait,
Throw him a ring so we can finish the fight.
I-
That's extra XP. Damn it, Ian. Any other points on this?
that's pretty good.
All right, that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip, walking on thin ice or thin anything.
Yeah.
Our player tip of the podcast is
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by the Trickster's Masterful Stealth. Now, I'm not much for a trickery domain cleric person or a cleric person at all.
Me neither.
In my experience, I don't think I've ever had a player play the trickery domain.
Nope.
In fact, the only person I'm aware of that does it is Jester in Critical Role. Now, I
Maybe.
haven't watched the second season of Critical Role at all, so my knowledge is very limited. But as I was looking through this stuff, I ended up actually finding Trent Monk's YouTube channel, and he had a whole 2-hour spiel on this. But the one thing that really jumped out at me is the trickery domain cleric that you get at level 1. You get an ability called the where is it? The Blessing of the Trickster. Now, the cleric can touch somebody and give them advantage on all stealth checks for an hour. No concentration.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
You can give that to everybody.
Especially the party rogue.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the rogue getting it. Amazing.
You'll never be caught.
You might as well be invisible, like a ghost.
Or the paladin, aka Sir Clanks-a-Lot.
Yeah. You get. Well, that's the beauty is there's no limit. You can give it to
Yeah.
each person, allowing for more discreet passage, and it really can eliminate the risk of having people who are disadvantaged in stealth situations.
Like Zorax.
Now, there's a common thing. Well, why would I take that when I can just use guidance? Guidance gives you a 1d4 extra.
Yep.
That's great. That's great.
Why not both?
Why not both?
Yeah, I was gonna say
This stacks
why
with
not?
it.
Yeah.
So you could give somebody the Blessing of the Trickster for advantage on their stealth rolls and an extra d4 on top of that. Now, guidance is a concentration spell. The Blessing of the Trickster is not. So only one person can get guidance. But if you give that to the worst person off or the best person to go do a sneak and reconnaissance mission, as a DM, I'd be super impressed by that because that's very much a supporty style play
Yeah.
that I'm a big fan of. Whether it's sneaking into enemy camps or fortresses or just trying to make sure that you guys can ambush people and you don't want, what'd you say, Sir Clanks a lot?
Yep.
Giving away
Yeah.
your position. To me, this is a great and powerful combination that I've honestly never seen in play. But
Me neither.
now that I look at it, I realize this what level you can get guidance? Level 1, right?
Yep.
This is a
There's a
level 1.
1 build.
That's huge. Now imagine how much use you're going to get out of that. You can
Probably
use it
nonstop.
indefinitely.
Depending on how your party's built, nonstop.
So it has a lot of versatility and value.
I really do think clerics, when played correctly, can go a long way.
Yeah. So
Like, I still left this day at my first domain cleric at level 1. Does a 23 hit you? Nope. What do you mean, no?
It doesn't.
dust off a shoulder.
My AC's 24 with all my enhancements built in. Sucker.
To me, this martial training or arcane training, I don't know what you want to call it, but is a really great combination that I don't see a lot used. Consider it when you pick out. At the very least, multi-classing in this for one level as a rogue
Oh yeah,
would be awesome.
I never thought about that. Just
Think about that. Like
multi-class
even
into it,
a thief or a arcane trickster rogue, this would
or like an
fit.
assassin even.
Yeah,
or-
it would really be great.
you're invisible. That's it.
So how do you? I saw a video just recently of a guy with a giant like folding tube around himself. How does a rogue hide in plain sight? And he runs up to a wall, and the tube goes over him, and he posts himself into the wall, and it looks like it's part of the building. I was like, that's how you hide in plain sight.
Well, I remember I actually had that argument many times in the past. Like, you're with a group of guys in the open. How are you hiding? Easy, by being less noticeable than the guy that chucks fireballs or the guy in full plate mail with a huge sword.
He's right. He's right.
You hide behind the guy with the big sword.
I'm just a guy. I'm over here. Ignore me. Pay attention to those big, shining, flashy guys.
It reminds me of those old cartoons where you guys see the criminal like pinned up against a wall and walking. Everyone that can see him, but he's still just kind of creeping along.
Or hides behind like a thin pole.
This is really cool because you could flavor the blessing of the trickster is a multitude of ways. Maybe it lightens your character slightly so your footsteps are lighter.
Yeah.
Or maybe it gives you that, oh man, totally gives you that predator look. That would be a cool reflavor.
It totally or maybe like to everyone else's vision, you look like blurred or something,
Ooh, I like that.
or like
It puts an illusion around you that blurs you to everyone.
yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Got that from a book.
You know what? There's none wrong. There's some
No.
great content out of there in books. So I think that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast.
Don't be a dick.
You can avoid dickitude by picking up the arcane teaching, the trickster's masterful stealth.
That works.
That'll do it for our show today. Apologize for any troubles we had with the power surge and our internet going out.
Yeah, it happens
I
every
did
once in a
record the video on this side after that, or when that happened, so I'll probably splice those together. So I apologize if you're watching this in the near future and I haven't yet uploaded a single compiled video versus the 3 individual sections. But
Right.
I do apologize for those. We hope you will join us on our next episode. We're going to discuss the rules of storytelling.
Cool.
I'm really excited for this one because this comes right from Pixar. Big movie
Really?
company.
Okay. Wow.
So there's a lot to talk about. So
Cool.
now before
Those are good tips, actually.
yeah, there was a lot of them. So once again, I want to remind everyone, if you're interested in helping support the show, please consider becoming a backer on our Kickstarter.
For Memorable Monsters.
Yeah, our Memorable Monsters Kickstarter. Like I said, we're just over 50%. We still have the rest of the month to go, which is about 20 days. So please become a supporter.
Yeah.
It's fat loot, so I promise. It'll be good stuff.
It really is.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm writing it. Because I'm not just writing it. I'm going to have a crew
Yeah.
writing with me, and they're writing some pretty fantastic stuff.
I
Go
did-
back to previous episode and see some samples.
I did update my document and didn't see it. So.
I have not seen it.
Okay.
I was playing board games all weekend. It was glorious.
Yeah, there
I
you
went to
go.
the sister-in-laws, man.
Absolutely.
All right.
If you have any feedback on our tips or tricks or topics you would like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com, or you can find us at Twitter and Facebook at Critacademy. We're pretty much everywhere, so you just
Yeah.
kind of just type it in and you'll find us.
Please go to YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube.
We do like
Also,
it.
you can watch our games there. We have a game this Friday.
We do.
Uh-huh.
And it's very exciting. We even have some of our past characters who are actually in the campaign as well, and they're actively doing things side by side with our current characters.
How do you guys feel about that?
It's fun. I like it.
They are going to die.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, we kind of fucked up quite a bit, but health-wise,
alert.
we're okay. But
You're surrounded by enemies.
we are definitely behind enemy lines by about tenfold.
Right.
My dragon pimp mocks your attempts.
Your dragon pimp.
Yeah, he was like a half dragon.
Oh, that's right. Your illusions. What are you talking about? I forgot
I
about
went
that.
in and I stuck a giant rock that looked like a horn onto my forehead, and we totally passed off as demons.
Those roll checks, man. Bastards.
Yeah, that was great.
All right. We hope you enjoy. Oh, that's your spot.
We hope you enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find the show by leaving a hopefully 5-star review on iTunes, or just send us a message telling us how much you enjoyed the show. And also, be sure to give us a like and a share, be it on Facebook, YouTube, what have you.
Please go to YouTube. Please subscribe to us. Please. There's a lot of work going into that. We have 400 subscribers right now. And that doesn't correlate to the number of people I know are listening to this show. I'm calling you all out. Help us out. All right. We hope you enjoyed your experience. Did you already read that?
Yes.
Yeah. I knew
Yeah,
that.
he did.
Yeah. Make sure to subscribe to our show at criticacademy.com. Subscribe to YouTube. So we can help you on your future adventures. Ian has been doing an awesome job of putting together our UTTs, snipping them out and putting them together as a video so you can watch them for 3 or 4 minutes and then move on.
Yeah.
I think there's got to be like 20 or 30 so far.
It's a few.
So he's been really doing a good job on that. So if you're looking for a quick reference to something, you can find it there in the playlist for Under Tips and Tricks. There's not very many compared to how many we've made because we have 5 every episode and we're on episode 182, but we're going to get there someday. Please contact us at criticacademy at gmail.com if you're looking for an internship for YouTube videos. Because fuck, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
it is.
Head on over to our website and subscribe there. You get to be entered to win Fat Loots every single week.
Yep.
Also, check out our fellowship members. Our buddy over at the Kind GM just started his own podcast recently. I think he's on episode like 4 or 5. It's pretty good stuff. He does really great blogs too, so check him out.
There you go.
Also, check out Interparty Conflict. I love Gabe and Jeff's show. It's the only one that I really have time to listen to, and I make time for it because those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Gabe, Jeff, thank you for the great content. I know how hard this job is. It really is a lot of work. You guys do good work. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
Whoop, whoop. Why'd I
What
do
the
that?
hell? I don't know.